Hello everyone and welcome back. We are on part 3 of our Fractured Crown set review. Today we're going to be going over 2 elements and let's see what they have in store for us. As always, everyone, go ahead and comment down below your thoughts and opinions about the cards. In addition, don't forget to find that special hidden Lorraine throughout the video. Without further ado, let's get started. Alrighty, so we got Blazing Bowman. Ranger, human, 3 cost. Blazing Bowman attacks can't be retaliated. And on enter, you may banish a fire element card from your graveyard. If you do, it gets +2 till end of turn. So on curve, it's a 4/1 attacker, and then it's just a 2/1 that can't be retaliated. I think this card is pretty interesting. It sort of fits the Ranger theme of like no retaliation or like hitting a specific target. Initial impression, I'm going to give it 3 stars. I don't think it's crazy at all. It's just an average card. It does die to a lot of instant removal that mages have, which is very unfortunate. Now, when it comes to the design of this card, I feel like it's pretty average, nothing too crazy, so I'll give it a 3 stars as well. I do like the fact that it cannot be retaliated. And then if there is a way to sort of take advantage of the on-enter effect, that would be really cool. As of right now, Fire doesn't really have anything to do that. So it just turns into a 3-cost 2/1, which is going to be understated. And playability-wise, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 2 stars. It's a better Blitz Mage when you play it, but then worse every turn after that, pretty much. So I'm going to keep it as it is, as you're probably not going to be seeing this card often. Korazi Arsonist, a 3-cost 2/2. You may remove a prep counter from your champion, and it gains stealth till the end of turn. If a unit hit by Korazi Arsonist would die this turn, banish it instead. So we are finally seeing some banishment for allies, which is going to be really helpful, especially against decks that rely with certain things in their graveyard, mostly a lot of fire decks at this current moment. But if their unit has floating memory and you want to get rid of it, swing with it with Korazi Arsonist, and it will be banished so they can't take advantage of that floating memory. So impression, I'm going to give it 4 stars. I think this card is really good. Design of this card, the fact that it does have that just unique text, if it hits something and then it dies this turn, banish it. It's a 2/2, which is nicely statted. I wish it was 3 toughness, just because that's really hard for a lot of decks to remove, but that's all right. But it makes up for it with the activated ability of removing a preparation counter from your champion to gain cell. So if your opponents do try and swing in and get rid of it, if you do have resources, you can save your character. So playability, I'm going to go ahead and give it 5 stars. I think this card is very playable, especially since it does not have a single class bonus on it. In design, I'll give it 4 stars. I think the card is really good, and we need more like this. Flame Break Chorus. I'm excited for this for Tamers. Impression, I'm going to give it 5 stars. I just think the artwork is very cute. Class bonus, it becomes a fast activated spell instead of slow, which is really cool. And then the ability text, target ally gets +2 attack until end of turn. If it's defending, Wake It Up, it gets an additional plus level attack till the end of turn. This is the sort of, if someone's attacking into one of your units, maybe like Lorraine sweeping you, or someone trying to remove a squirrel, you can play this, activate it, and get that additional damage in. If you're level 2 at minimum, that's when Lorraine's going to be cleaving you. That's at least an additional 4 damage on top of maybe the 1 or 2 you already have. So she'll be board wiping you, but you'll be doing 6 damage to her, which will put her in a very bad spot. And you could probably kill her the next turn if you have the cards. So playability, I'm going to give it 3 stars. I don't think it's going to be played in every deck, but I see niche uses for it. Design, I'll go ahead and give it 4 stars. I think it's very well designed. It's purposely meant only for Tamers, because normal classes don't want to pay 2 to just give an ally to attack, because you don't get the if defending Wake It Up. Own by Fire. We have target sword weapon you control gets +2 attack till end of turn. Class bonus, you get a durability counter. It's 2 cost, fast speed, 5 star for my impression. It's a warrior sword craft card, which is interesting. If we're going to see more crafts, if that's just a pseudo name for cards that buff things, but we already have a water card that buffs, but I don't believe it has craft in its name, so we'll see what more comes of this line of text. Design, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 3-star design. It's just straightforward. It's a good ability on a good card, but there isn't really anything like super interesting about it. It's you buff a sword and it gets a durability counter, so you don't have to worry about it dying that turn. You could use it again, something like that. Playability, I'm going to give it 4 stars. I think the card is playable. Especially at fast speed, it's a good getcha card. Prevents your opponent from knowing how much damage you're exactly swinging at. Like, you know, I'm going to attack with you with a sword. They're like, I'm not going to intercept. Like, haha, I got you, 2 more damage. Anyways, next card. Incendiary Fractal. Fantasia, Mage Fractal. On enter, deal 2 damage to target ally you don't control. Class bonus, deal 4 damage to that ally instead for 4. Reservable. Sideboard card, 100%. Impression, 1 star. I'm not impressed with this card. I understand what's going on with it. I think it's very overcosted for what it does. It is a common, so we have to give it, in order for there to be good cards, there has to be bad cards. Design, I'm going to go ahead and give it 2 stars. Once again, the on enter deal 2 damage to an ally you don't control is fine. Would really like if it could be 2 damage to any ally, so you could shoot your own library witches, things like that. The 4 cost is what's holding it back. If it was 3 cost, I think this card would be a lot better. I just feel like there's better stuff you want to do for 4, because this card won't start being reservable efficient till 5 turns after you play. Playability, we'll go ahead and give it a 1 star. Innervate Fury, part of our D-level cycle. It's a 3 cost slow speed. As an additional cost to activate this card, D-level your champion and recover 5. You then get to deal 7 split among any target allies. Impression, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Design of this card, I think this card is very needed. We need more interaction, and I like the concept of de-leveling a champion because you could get your on-enter effects more. The Recover 5 is kind of mediocre since you do lose your maximum HP. The Recover 5 is just there, so you don't almost die instantly when you do it. But I don't think it's going to matter too much on this card particularly. But the deal 7 damage split among any target is really good if you're getting rushed down or aggroed. Especially if you're like playing a Sylvie or a Rydek, it's a great way to just regain control of board presence for very low cost. Design, I'm going to go ahead and give it 5 stars. Playability, we'll give it 3 stars. I don't think it's going to be played in every fire deck, but there is going to be a majority of fire decks that want to run a card like this. Oh, the red slime. Look at him just chilling in the bath. Impression, immediately 5 stars. You can't look at this card and say this isn't a cool card. But let's actually look at the design of the card. It's a 3 cost, Pride 3, class bonus, on death, deal damage to all allies equal to Red Slime's power. So 3 cost, 3/2, on death, deal 3 damage to every ally. He is a nuclear bomb board wipe that is just waiting to explode. Poor little guy. He has a very crazy death trigger for how cute he looks. I'm going to give it a 3-star design. I think the design, you know, heck that. Scratch that. I'm going to give it a 4-star on design. Pride cost is perfectly statted. The stats are really good, and I feel like it's a high-risk, high-reward card. It prevents the Tamer player from going super wide, otherwise they'll board wipe themselves, but it is also a great way to counter aggro, and your opponent really doesn't want to like retaliate against it, so this guy can just keep killing opponent's allies or get in the beatdowns for 30 damage a turn. Are really good. I'm gonna playability. I think Fire Tamers are gonna run this card. 5-star playability, 100%. Barukan Acolyte. On enter, 3-drop, on enter, destroy target Regalia with memory cost 0. Level 3, she gets +3 attack till end of turn. Pretty much maybe a half main board, run 2 copies main board, or run her in sideboard. She is going to be a Spurn the Ash on a stick to get rid of Nullifying Lanterns and some other cards you don't want to deal with. She's an anti-Lorraine card. If Lorraine grabs a sword, you can be like, hey, if you don't use that sword in my next turn, I'm gonna get rid of that, you know? So you better think about that. Impression, 4-star. With the design of the card, I think it's great. It's anti-Regalia, it's more Regalia interaction we do need, and it makes your opponent really have to think if they need that 0 cost, because it might not survive a turn. A design, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Playability, 3 stars. I think it may just be relegated to sideboard a lot of the time. Who knows? People may surprise you and run that main board. And into the water we go. Korhazi Trapper. 3 cost, on enter, put a preparation counter on your champion, so we're getting more prep support. You may tap it, remove a preparation counter from your champion. Target unit gets -3 until end of turn. Impression, immediately just reading all that, 5 stars. I think it is going to be a really, really cool control card. Not particularly for Assassin, but just a cool control card. The fact that it says target unit gets -3 attack shuts off a lot of Lorraine potential. If she's trying to like Rending Flames or set up a big turn, shuts down level 2 Lorraine a lot of the time. So I'm going to give that a 5-star in design. It's very well statted too. That 1-3, that 3 toughness really matters, as I always say. It's really hard for your opponent to get over. A lot of times they're going to be sending multiple things into it to get rid of it. Playability, we're going to go ahead and give 4-star. I feel like this card needs to find a home in a well-suited control deck, and once it does, it will be rock solid. Deep Sea Fractal. This is the fractal that I probably think is one of the best fractals we have. Add a comment too. So keep in mind this fractal compared to our other fractal. Impression, I'm going to give it 4 stars right off the bat. But let's read the card, see what it does. It's a 2-cost Deep Sea Fractal. Hindered, which means it enters the field rested. On enter, each player puts the top card of their deck into their graveyard, and it's reservable. So a great way I consider Hindered is just I add an additional 1 to the cost, because you're not going to be able to use the reservable right away. So it's technically a 3-cost fractal that mills you 1. It does help your opponent, but it also helps you, so it's net even on that. And then it's reservable. So after 4 turns, this card pays for itself plus some, in comparison to a 4-turn fractal that just may kill something. I feel like this card is just way better. You get to play it earlier, less cards, you could play multiple on the same turn and still be set up. A design, I'm going to give it 5 stars. The fact that they gave it hindered bumps it from a 4 to a 5-star. If it wasn't hindered, this card would be way too good, and it would probably have to be like a rare and something, but yeah. Playability, 5-star. I think this card is very playable. You should run it in water decks if you're going to be going sort of the fractal control theme, or just you need some acceleration. Fractal of Intrusion, 3 cost. On enter, you may banish a card with floating memory from your graveyard. When you do, look at target opponent's memory, discard a card from it, reservable. Another really good fractal. Oh man, it's almost as if they purposely made that red fractal bad. Anyways, it is a rare, and it does have an ability for a rare, which is really nice. Impression, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Design, I will be giving it 4 stars as well. I really like the fact that you can get rid of one of your resources in your graveyard you may not need anymore to force your opponent to lose a resource in their memory that they might be needing. It also helps get rid of like pesky cards you don't want to deal with, like Xander players when you're looking at their Luxem cards. You don't want to deal with Lorraine if she has a Fire Lane, if she has a big attack in it. You want to get rid of that. Things of that nature. Playability, 4 stars. I feel like this card is really good again if you're running fractals or you need acceleration. No class bonuses, which makes it even better. Fracturize, we have some more interaction. This game, I love when we get interaction. We always keep needing interaction, and I hope they never stop giving us ways to deal with problems. This is a 2-drop action Cleric Mage spell. Target item or weapon becomes a Cleric Fractal Fantasia with reservable and loses all their abilities, and it has floating memory. It's fast. Impression, 5 stars. Mostly because the art's really cool. Secondly, because this card is really good to stop your opponent from doing certain things, like if they're a Xander player and they get Luxura's map, boom, you no longer have a map, you just have a reservable fractal. Lorraine has a sword on the field, be like, boom, you no longer have a sword, you have a Cleric Fractal. You can't Blazing Throw that, you can't Ascension that anymore, get them like that. Or Nullifying Lantern, be like, boom, you no longer have a Nullifying Lantern. It also works on your own Regalia, so if you have a Regalia sitting on your field, you're like, man, I don't need this anymore. like your own nullifying lantern or something, you could use it on your own, and then you just get a reservable card. And it has floating memory, so really good. Impression, 5-star. Design, 5-star. Playability, 5-star. Frostbind. We have our first counterspell, or tax activation card is a good way to put it. Impression, immediately 5-star. I think very healthy for this game. We need more stuff like this. And in other elements, please don't keep it just in water. Wind and fire should have their own variants of these kind of cards. 2 cost, negate target card activation unless the controller pays 2. Banish the card it had its activation negated this way. So pretty much it's like, hey, I'm going to pay 4 to play my Tactful Sergeant. It's like, I'm going to Frostbind it. If you don't pay an additional 2 into your memory, this card is now banished. Super healthy for the game. Can't state it enough. Different colors though, please. Don't just keep it in water. Let's do like a fire one that says, fire wouldn't really negate that much, but be like, target activated ally is dealt 5 damage unless controller pays 2, sort of thing. You know, just instant spot removal if the opponent doesn't pay an additional 2. Things like that. But anyways, impression, 5-star. Design, 5-star. Playability, 5-star. Give me more. Crossbinder Apostle. A 3 cost, 0-2. Intercept, level 2+. On enter, target rested ally you control gets -4 until end of turn. I feel like this card is very mid. I don't think it really does much. It's a worse Frostsworn Paladin, I believe. I guess it's a kill spell. You can -4 life something on 2+. I don't know. I'm just going to go with initially my impression when I saw it. 2 stars. Design, reading it again and actually seeing some of the concept of it, I do like it. I'm going to give it 4 stars for the design. It's really neat that it's a kill spell on a stick, implying that it's can be removal, but it's also a ally. And it doesn't have an attack value, but it can potentially gain attack value with other cards in the format. And the intercept's always nice for a little bit of protection. The playability will give it 3 stars. Guarded Disposition, the warrior skill reaction we've all been wanting. Now, it's a action card. Prevent the next X damage that rebuilt to target unit this turn, where X is the greatest power among swords you control. So this is clearly meant to be run with the water sword we saw in our first video. However, it also works great with any sword on the field, because any kind of damage prevention is going to be solid, especially because a lot of swords for warriors are going to have at least 2 attack, maybe 1, but with the new cards coming out, there's going to be a lot of really strong swords. In addition, it has a little bit of kicker of level 1+, draw a card, so it replaces itself, then prevents damage, which is just sort of a kind of 2 cost deflecting edge with upside, which I think is really cool. Impression, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Design, I'll give it 5 stars. Playability, I'll give it 5 stars as well. I feel like if you're in water, warrior, you just run this card. There's no reason not to. It even can be thrown in a sideboard if you really don't want to run 4 of main board. 4 cost, Innervate Knowledge. As an additional cost to activate this card, de-level your champion and recover 5. Then you draw 2 cards, it slows speed. My initial impression of this card, I think, was really unreceptive, but then I warmed up to a bit, so I'm just going to go with 3 stars. And when we look at the design, I'll let you know why I was going from cold to a little bit of warm for this card. At 4 cost is a lot to de-level and recover 5, but with the draw 2 stipulation, it technically is only a 2 cost to do it, and it does help you take advantage of on enter level effects. I think the only thing holding it back for me is its slow speed. I would really appreciate it if it was a fast speed card. And with that, I'm going to give the design a 3 star. I'm sorry, I'm going to bump that up to 4 star. I think it's a very well designed card. However, there's more that they could have put on this card. Playability wise, I'm going to give it 2 stars. It may be popping up in some decks. I just really think the slow speed D-level is going to hinder a lot. Ocean's Blessing. It's a 2 cost Fantasia ally link, class bonus floating memory. Linked ally gets +1 health and has taunt. This is your blue slime combo piece. Impression, I really don't like blue slime, but I think this card is cool. I don't like blue slime because I've lost to it multiple times by trying to be funny. For my initial impression of this card, I'm going to give it 4 stars. I think this card is what Water Tamer needs. It needs something like this. And the fact that it's not even class bonus for the linked ally gets part, it's just class bonus floating. You can run this in any water deck too. And so I'm interested to see what people can do with it to give their allies some taunt, maybe a little bit more side protection. Water Xander could throw this on their retaliate floating memory assassin card, which would be kind of funny, force people have to attack into it. A design, I'll go ahead and give it a 5-star. I think it's really well designed. The devs certainly knew what they were doing with this and knew exactly what they want the card to do and what niche it fills. Playability, we'll give it 4 stars. I think it is very playable. Protective Fractal. 4 cost, reservable, prevent the next one damage that would be dealt to target champion this turn. 4-star impression. I think it's just a better 4-cost fractal than our other 4-cost fractal. I keep talking bad about. My apologies if you like that fractal. However, design, I'm going to give it 3 stars. I feel like it's just a common card that, not really a pack filler, but more of a, we need more fractals that do something but not something crazy. Prevent 1 damage is alright. Playability, we'll give it 2 stars. I think it's, if you're running fractal synergy, you run this card. If not, you're probably not going to run it at all. Now, here's the big payoff for fractal. It's a 3-cost refracting missile. Deal 3 damage to target unit equal to the amount of fractals you control +1 and its floating memory. I think this card is super solid. Impression, 5-star. Design, 5-star. The reason for the 5-star design is it takes advantage of a brand new mechanic. It's an alternate win condition, and it's a fast spell. And it's something that your opponent's actually going to have to keep in mind. And maybe they're going to have to start teching in fractal removal if this is your main win con. I really want to play this card in a mage deck, a Water Rye, Water Merlin, maybe go Water Xander Control, or Tristan. I'm sorry, not Xander. Tristan. Maybe Xander with a heal package as well. Playability, 5-star. Everything's 5-star. I don't know if I'm fanboying over that card too much, but Riptide Slash. Hey! Warrior Sword attack that I cannot wait to put into my Water Lorraine deck. It's a 2-cost class bonus on attack glimpse 2, so you get to manipulate the top of your deck, which we really need. And then on kill, you may put the top card of your deck into your graveyard. Helps you get floating memory out, or if you're running some synergies with something hitting your graveyard, really spot on. It's a 2 damage attack. Impression, 5-star. Design, 4-star. Playability, 5-star. The reason the design is 4-star is because I really wish the Riptide Slash wasn't class bonus on attack, but it makes perfect sense why Weaves of the Shore are doing that. This card would be a little too good, as anyone in water could take advantage of this. Song of Frost, the Tamer slowdown spell. 2 costs, class bonus. You may banish a card with flown memory from your graveyard rather than pay this reserve cost. If a unit is attacking and the combat phase, I don't think this is just Tamer specific. This is a great control card. It just negates a unit's attack, so bye-bye Lorraine, I'm sorry. Your Fiery Momentum turn is over. Or if they're trying to swing at you like a Sylvie with a 6/6 Tempest Silverback, oh, too bad. No more attacking with that one. Impression, 4 stars. Design, 5 stars. Really well. Playability, we'll give it 4 stars. I don't think it will be run in every water deck, but it will be run in a majority and see some sideboard against super aggressive decks. This also has a stipulation, though, that if we are in an ally-heavy meta, where it's less about swinging big with a champion, this card will be less effective. Oh, and that's it. We have hit our end of our set review. I hope everyone enjoyed. We just have one more video next where we'll be covering the Wind and Advanced Element cards, and I hope to see you all there. Have a wonderful day.